Hi, it's Michael. It is said that existence is perfect. And when examined with intelligence, it has to be obviously so, because if existence with its infinite complexity and infinite size, if it would be imperfect, it couldn't last, it would have to self-destruct. Can you imagine a machine with such a complexity and such a size? If there would be faults in the machine, it wouldn't last very long, would it? So existence is perfect. Now, existence is the manifestation. It is said that existence is the manifestation of the projection of divine presence, the self with capital S, and this divine presence that manifests this existence obviously has to be and is perfect, as again, if the self would be imperfect, then it could not create a perfect existence, and an imperfect existence would self-destruct. It would stop working. It's not a BMW car or a Mercedes, that's for sure. Now, it is important to examine what is meant by perfect, or the use of the word perfect. In human language, we use perfect to denote something that suits us in all the desired ways. It has some value, obviously, for communication. For example, taking into account a car, rather than describing each attribute of the car and that it is very nice and suits us well, we just say, for me the car is perfect. And it clearly communicates to the other person that the car fulfills all the categories that are desired. So this this can be valuable for human communication, but when it is applied to existence, it kind of really doesn't make sense. It kind of breaks down, because what would evaluate existence or this world or your life or anything pertaining to life and divinity as perfect? What is making the comment, what is evaluating it, and what is commenting it as perfect or imperfect? Well, it is, of course, the human mind, the ego, the self with a low cap as the false self. So what authority does the small self, the ego, has to comment on the entire existence or this world or even your life? Of course, none. It is, as Dr. David Hawkins says, it's the vanity of the ego that thinks it has the authority to evaluate and comment on this, but it's bullshit, of course. So when it comes to existence, saying perfect, imperfect, really doesn't make much sense. But in order to communicate this to a person who is getting into spirituality, then it has a limited value. So again circling back to the beginning. So existence is perfect, and the self that manifests this existence is perfect. But when you look at it in the way that the self is the only thing there is, in reality with capital R, and the whole existence is projected within it, for the lack of wording, it's kind of hard to describe it in words. The human language has its limitations. But let's say within it, then commenting perfect or imperfect doesn't even make sense. It is exactly as it is envisioned, it is exactly as the divine will is, and that's it. So the existence is perfect for its intended use, and everything within existence is a perfect manifestation of its energy level, of its contributing energies, of its contributing things. For example, this Lake Ontario, is a perfectly manifested lake. We can say it's a perfect lake, but then we have to contextualize it. Perfect in what way? Is it perfectly clean? No, it will be, of course, polluted to some degree. But it is a perfect manifestation of its energy level, and it is a perfect manifestation of its contributing factors. So all the chemicals that are released to it by the humans, by the storm sewers, by the water treatment plant, the birds shitting in it, and people peeing in it when they go for a swim, and all that combined together creates a perfect manifestation of all its contributing factors. So this Lake Ontario is a perfect manifestations of all that. That is Toronto, or downtown Toronto. Toronto is all around here. And Toronto is a perfect manifestation of its contributing factors. It is perfectly congested city. It is a perfectly humongous city that seems to never end. And it is a positive city. And again, we can call it perfect city, but then we need to contextualize it for the human understanding, for the human wording, that it is a perfect manifestation of its energy, of its contributing factors. Your life is perfect. It is a perfect manifestation, again, of all the contributing factors, which only God knows what they are. Karmic karma, and your diet, your attitude to life, your environment, your family, your country, your religion. So your life is a perfect manifestation of that. Not only that, but as we are told by enlightened people, you are perfectly positioned with your life where you need to be for your spiritual evolution. So your life is perfect for your spiritual involvement. And now you may say, well, you say my life is perfect, but I have a cancer, and my dog ran out of the home, my pickup truck was stolen, my chandelier fell into my soup and electrocuted the cat, and there are spiders running in my apartment. How can that be perfect? Again, that is the ego playing games. Your life is a perfect manifestation of all the contributing factors, and as Dr. David Hawkins says, every person is the person that paddles its own boat. So your life is perfect manifestations of your choices, your decisions throughout your entire career here on earth, and perhaps even beyond. And another thing about calling things perfect, you might have heard spiritual teachers saying, you are already perfect, and you are already complete, and nothing more is really needed. All that is needed is already there. It may not be in these exact words, but that's this direction. Okay, so again, this needs to be properly contextualized. When it is said that you are perfect, what identification is there? What is the you? Is it a person? Is it the body, mind, soul? Is it the spirit? Does it refer to the self, to the essence of the life, to your essence? If you, as a manifested person, would be perfect, you wouldn't need to be here in this world, because we are here to spiritually evolve, to learn spiritual lessons, to experience our understanding of life, to experience the consequences of our choices, to spiritually evolve. So again, in this respect, we are in the perfect circumstances, in the perfect conditions, but we cannot be called perfect, because if we would be perfect, we would be in some celestial realm, as Dr. David Hawkins said, or beyond, and that is not so at this moment. But if the identification is with the self, with capital S, with the absolute, then of course it is perfect, it is complete, and nothing more is needed, nothing more is need to be added, nothing else can be added, because there is nothing else. So as even the Upanishads say, yes, you are it, you are the self, but not you as the manifested person, what you look at in the mirror, but as the essence beyond it. Just to go through a very simplified exercise, if you, as you see yourself in the mirror, and as you know yourself experientially, which means the body, mind, and maybe even kind of little bit of the soul, if you would be dissolved, if you would cease to exist now, what would be left? If you would be dissolved right now, what would be left? And we could say the soul would be left. Okay, so if the soul would be dissolved, what would be left then? And we can say the pure consciousness would be left. Okay, and then perhaps we can say if the pure consciousness would be dissolved, what would be left? And the answer would be the unmanifest that manifests all that, which is the divine self, the true self, the divine presence. Okay, so, and it is also said that the only thing that is aware of being aware is the divine self. So if you would, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you see the body-mind and you intuit some kind of a soul, if you would look from the other side of the mirror, it's the self, it's the divine self looking through all that into the existence as you, could be said in a kind of rough symbolic way. So again, the existence is perfect, and seeing it as imperfect or trying to even evaluate it in some kind of way is a game of the ego, and just drop it. And the biggest lesson of it is that the most important point of all this is that we as manifested individuals, as manifested entities, are in a perfect condition, manifested perfectly in a perfect environment for our perfect spiritual evolution. And overall, it is a game of the divine presence of the self. So if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below the video, and that is it for now. Michael out.